The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, is another episode of the Modern Jeeper Show with me, Matson from Metalcloak, and Mr. Modern Jeeper, Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Rockstar Jeep Girl, Jesse.
Well, hello.
Hello. I love the shirt.
I
Funshine.
know. I don't
Good
know
vi-
who it came from. It just was addressed to me and Corey, and it showed up. So whoever got it for me, stand up and wave.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
apparently Santa Claus has been running amok. We have, I got a box the other day that,
Don't know who it's from.
don't know who it's from. No, from, just had to Jesse and I, 4 large bags of family size Oreos. So I had to go buy an extra gallon of milk.
We're gonna have a
I
cookie
think you
eating
should make yourself
contest.
some homemade cookies and cream ice cream.
Oh, see, I got the Ninja Creamy. I bought one,
Yeah,
so I can make
There you
ice
go.
cream.
there you go. Ninja cream.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's
actually.
for our fans or our listeners out there. I don't know if I'd call them fans. The people who are crazy in their head and they follow us and we thank you very much for
Bored with
for
nothing
the
else
goodies.
to do. Yes. Those 2 dozen
Yeah,
people that
I
listen
mean,
to us
I'm-
every week.
Now I'm just gonna sit here and get fat and eat Oreos.
And then there's a kitchen full of cookies I made yesterday.
Oh, wow. So you're going to box up some and send some here, of course.
Oh,
We're gonna
I'm
bring 'em.
bringing them.
We're gonna-
They're it's
But that's
secret.
2 weeks away. They're going to be old and stale by then.
No, they won't.
They're full of preservatives.
But I can't eat them next year. I'm eating them this year. Like this, this is my week to gouge until like the end of the year. And then it's fast time on Matson High or whatever.
Well, the ones that are sitting in the kitchen are my test batch. So
Oh, your test batch.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. So it feels this week is just odd to me. It's that week in between. It's in between Christmas. It's
tweener.
not quite New Year's. Hopefully everybody had a good Christmas. Yeah, it's such a weird. This week is
It's
always
always
weird
weird.
every year.
It is. Well, you do so much to get ready, especially for us, because everybody's off this week, except
Mhm.
for a skeleton sales and customer service crew. And they're on a truncated schedule. And only Tuesday went. And I think this week is a little bit different than most because Sunday, like it is bookmarked or bookended on both ends by Christmas
holidays.
and then New Year's. I mean, it's not even like it's in the middle of the week, and it's just like boom, boom, boom. So this week is just a throwaway week almost.
It is,
Yeah.
and I know a lot of businesses even in town in Montrose here are closed this week or short staffed or limited staffing. Yeah, I don't know. The weather's kind of gloomy this week here. We had a great Christmas. We were able to go over to my dad's and celebrate him and my brother's birthdays and get both of my brothers and their wives all together at my dad's house. And we had a very small, actually we made homemade pizzas or small pizzas.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, it was really cool. And it was very,
Does he have like a pizza oven, like a Una or whatever it is?
no,
No.
made him in a regular oven.
Yeah, that's-
Like the little,
what? You can do
the
that?
little bubbly crusts that you just put your own stuff on. And
You can do that in a regular oven?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't have to have like a pizza oven with
No.
big stone and big in the backyard, because according to the advertising, that's what you need.
Well, I'm sure that's what you need. Because we all need more stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it was really cool. And again, it's like you said, there's this build up to Christmas. It's just like I don't know, the holidays are weird. You do this rise up to the peak, you have your holiday, and then you fall off the other side into no man's land.
You fall off.
Yeah.
Couldn't you just slide off or glide off? Why do you have to fall off? That's such
Sometimes
a negative.
It's an abrupt fall off.
It's how it is when you're around a whole bunch of people and then the next day everybody's gone. And
Well,
so-
part part of your challenge, Corey, is that you're always like you're ahead on your planning. You're not like the rest of us that like, well, now that Christmas is over and New Year's about to start, I'm gonna spend this week getting ready for the year because I didn't
Yeah.
do that before. But you know, Corey, ladies and gentlemen, Corey plans out. I mean, the CTI tour, all this kind of stuff is being planned out way ahead of time, like you know, weeks in advance, months in advance. I'm getting notifications that things have been updated on our calendar that we share, and all it's because he's well ahead in planning it out. You know, maybe if you filled this void with being radically trying to catch up, you'd feel better because then you just got activity and things to do.
Well, you know, there is something to be said for that because I do feel like um, we we tend to get through things to in order to get through them, right? It's kind of like I don't know. I have this weird obsession with even something as simple as things in our cabinet in our pantry for food. Like I want them to go away because to me, then it's less stuff that I have to think about. So it's kind of like the generators. So the folks that have been following along, we got a new generator for this year's CTI tour and took the old one off and but all that stuff it rattles around in my head. So even at night when I'm trying to sleep, I'm still thinking about where those wires are going to go and how I can get it done. It's like this thing that like will weigh over me. It's I don't know if it's anxiety or what that is. It's just this I know I have this project to do and it is like the only thing I'll be able to focus on until I get it done. So because I'm worried, like what if something goes wrong? What if I can't wire it? What if I don't know, what if the thing explodes or something? But it's all of those things every day that I have to clear out some of those things every once in a while in order for me to I don't know. It's that control thing, I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting. It'd be interesting to like if you could change personality traits in somebody, right? Like, could I give you the personality trait of procrastination?
Right.
Right? Could you try? What would it be like for Corey Osborne to be a procrastinator for 1 week? Like, how would that make you feel better? Would that take your stress levels down? Like, I'm a total procrastinator. Everybody knows. When I need to get shit done, I get it done. When I'm up, I'll be up. If that means being up at 4 o'clock in the morning getting it done, that's fine. Now, had I been what I used to call actively proactive, actually passively proactive was my term. You know, if you're proactive enough, you can be passive through life. Was kind of my idea, right? So but I never really got to the point where I was very proactive enough to be passive through life, right? I prefer the procrastination side. It's just one of my natural traits, always has been. And so I put things off and I don't get it done right away or I don't get back to some whatever. And then it happens and people understand that. And I love all of you for understanding that. And then but I will get it done when I need to get it done. But it doesn't weigh on me. And that's part of just my personality. Things don't weigh on me in a stressful way, right? They, I get more stress out of like being at home and wondering, am I doing okay by my kids? Or like that stresses me out because you can't be a procrastinator with your kids. Like, yeah, you know, I'll feed you sometime. Yeah, that's fine. We'll take care of your education when we need to, right? Okay. Yeah, you got to study spelling test tomorrow. Like, let's study tonight, right? You just can't do that with your kids. But with the rest of life, I do, and it's just kind of how it flows through. So I just be interesting if you could just change personality traits. But what would it be for me to have that personality trace being a little bit more
Right.
OCD, having to get things done? Like, how would we react if we could switch personalities for a moment?
It's
I don't know.
definitely a I kind of think of it as a it's like a positive negative. It's it's a it's a thing that is it's a good thing to be, yet it draws negative energy on the other side of me. Like it's kind of like when you were talking about like to be a procrastinator but do it successfully and still be able to get things done. It's a it's a part of it. It's the front side is positive but the back side's negative. It's like a high
Mhm.
functioning alcoholic, right? Like
Right.
the alcoholic thing is a bad thing, but he's able to do all of his things. Like
Right.
it's really odd. And you know, the things that we have control over, I try to focus on the smaller things. So for example, this week I started off by cleaning off my desk and making sure that this space I have control over this space, and it's very simple. That closet you see behind me was full of just books and stuff that I had collected for years, even back when I had the title insurance company and worked for land title, and it was a lot of my management books and things like that. You know what? I'm 54. I'm not going to pick up Freakonomics and reread it and go, huh, how do I deal with some business? That's just not me now. So to get rid of some of that and clean it out and donate it and throw it away and make the a clean space, it's really, it makes me feel better. It relieves some of that hanging overweight. You know, going through my mom's death and all that kind of stuff. We're getting way out there now, but we as people who are hoarders and that kind of thing, I get it. Like I can see that side of people that want to collect stuff, and it becomes your comfort zone, and then to get rid of it is very difficult. But all that stuff really just weighs on people, and this is one of those times a year. What do we did? We just collected a whole bunch more stuff if you're into the gift giving thing.
Right, right.
I'm like, I want to go out in the garage, even though it's freezing cold outside right now. I want to go out there and just like, I don't know, hire
Purge.
a roll off and just start chucking stuff in it.
You know, it's interesting you say that, because we we go through that in our own house, because I have a 3-car garage with a vaulted ceiling. You know, it's a big garage, and it's shoved full of stuff. And a lot of it is, you know, with being foster family, we have clothes. We can't just get rid of the clothes because, well, the baby clothes don't fit anybody anymore. Like Louisa wants to keep the clothes in case another baby comes along or something happens, right? So we have all that. Plus, it's the constant of, oh yes, I will get to that. And now I'll go through purges on my side of the garage, and I'll just purge stuff out. And there's occasions things just the back of the truck is filled up. I come over here and I throw some stuff in the dumpster here, right? And I'll just consistently do that. But at the same time, I realized the other day, I was like looking through my camping stuff. I'm like, I used to have this, I mean, for 20 plus years now, I've had this tub that was of my old camping gear, my own, you know, it's the old pots and pans that I've used forever, that were my, you know, these are things, this is what I camped with. I've camped with for decades. And I'm looking at all that stuff going, wow, is that really what I need right now? Now, the prepper side of me says, don't get rid of that, because like there may be a day you need that, right? The other side of me says, well, I'm never going to actually take that. I'm not going to take it camping again, you know, anytime soon. Like I have this other newer stuff, or I'm going to try it differently. I'm not going to take that stuff again. So but I still have 4 tubs of camping gear, right? I do have a storage unit too. I pay for a storage unit. That's in that storage unit is mainly like old stuff from the Brewfest, the canopies that I need to get rid of. I don't need them anymore. But bankers boxes full of stuff related to businesses I have tried. I mean, I'm a little bit of a serial entrepreneur, right? I like to try things. I did stuff. And it's not so much that I need that stuff as it's part of my own institutional memory. You know, and I sometimes I forget, like I'll go through and go, oh yeah, I totally forgot that I tried doing that, or I had that business card, or I was doing this letter writing campaign with somebody, right? I keep that stuff for my own personal memories. Louisa doesn't care about that stuff. Like she cares about clothes and shoes and other things that she has, and then gets built up, and so much of it. And of course, her challenge is that, oh, I like this. This is really cute in the red. I think I should buy the red, green, blue, and purple versions as well, all in the same size, because it fits me well. She does the same thing with the kids. I mean, my boys, we have in our bedrooms, they're large bedrooms, giant sliding door closets, giant closets, right? They're full of clothes. I mean, my boys have 30, 40 shirts to choose from. 30, 40 pairs of pants to choose from. I mean, it's insane. But you know, it makes her happy. And I look at that and go, wow, not needed. I mean, simplify life. Something I was just listening to on this podcast was this idea, and I try to enforce it in our own house, is when you get something, get rid of something.
Yes.
Right. So
something comes in, something else has to leave.
To go out. Exactly. And look at those things. And I've talked to people who all have this philosophy, like, well, if we haven't touched it for 6 months, we get rid of it. If we haven't touched it for 3 months, we get rid of it. that applies to everything. If there's stuff in the pantry that you didn't touch for 3 months, get rid of it. If there, but again, the prepper side of me says, well, I kind of need that. Like
Right.
I want to keep the spam. Okay. Just, it's got to be there just in case. Right. So I don't know. It's an interesting balance, but it is one of those things. I mean, we're talking about this is a new year. We're going to talk about some New Year's resolutions. It is one of the things that I have at the top of my list for 2023, is getting that damn garage back to functionality, and finding a way to do that.
You hit the nail on the head. You said balance, and I think we keep on we hold on to a lot of things because it does say something about who we are. It's no different than Jeeps. It's no different than pictures or images of places we've been. Whether you collect stickers or patches or T-shirts from events, it becomes that's who we are. And it was funny going through that closet. I spent, and one we'll, like you said, we'll talk a little bit about our reservations or our resolutions. But it's funny to go through and look back on. I had kept a lot of. We used to have to do quarterly reports, year-end reports for the offices we oversaw. And it was all real estate related and that kind of thing. But things that used to hang on my wall in my office and on my little cork board, I came across this, and this had hung on my wall in my office for, I don't know, 15 years. And it was a very simple, somebody had given it to me, a little 15 rules for success. And it was funny because I found it going through the stuff in the closet and just kind of went back and read through it and kind of went, have I kept up? Am I still doing some of these things? And it's, maybe we all need that little reassurance every once in a while that says you're okay. I think that one of the last couple of years of COVID and epidemics and life has made people question whether or not they're still doing okay, because we socially have changed and evolved, and it's a different deal now. So yeah, I think I don't know. I think everybody handles their own path differently, and being between two big holidays and year-end events, Jesse has said for the last couple of months, why is it that we wait till the end of the year to start things or change things? Why do we use, well, it's a new year, it's time to start? Yeah, because what?
You got rid of all your old crap last year? Right.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Come on now.
It turns out it's just another day, but
Yeah.
we use it as that little bit of leverage or excuse to say, next year I'm going to do things different. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is a psychological thing, I mean, right? And we can set that line wherever we want. I've told the story before, but when I was in high school and I used to play, I was on a bowling league. When you have like a couple of really bad frames, the guys would go and this is when you used to hand write stuff, right? It wasn't all digital. You actually took and you put a big marker line, like you made that line really thick between the two frames. And it was a psychological thing. I'm starting over. This is a new beginning.
Yep.
It's a new beginning. It's a new moment. So as I had mentioned, now I still have things that I like to get. Then every year, my wife and I give each other like little writing books. And in the books, it is like, what's the purpose of this? Well, it's for your writing for the year, right? And sometimes they get pretty full for the year. Sometimes they don't, and they remain absolutely empty. But what I used to do, and that's a new habit I'm trying to rebuild and actually work with my boys on, is writing down across my life, like what are the things that I want to accomplish, right? What are the things I want to accomplish personally and with my family and with work and with mankind in general and the other things, and cleaning up all these little things, and just put that in the beginning of the book, and then be able to write through it and see how we're accomplishing those things. But I go back to some of those and I look at that and go, well, frack, if I had actually gone through and like, boy, man, what imagine if I would actually done that and learned how to do that or like follow through on that. The thing is accountability. Like with all of this stuff, just like those rules, like you have to have somebody who keeps you accountable, and somebody who you respect and somebody you don't want to disappoint who keeps you accountable. And I think in a lot of cases, people that want to achieve new things, you got to be accountable to it. Now, I try to do it. I made a decision this last year that my birthday was my moment. right? Like, what am I going to accomplish again for my next year of my life as opposed to New Year's? And I'll just do some New Year's resolutions. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to create ideas about what you're going to do in the future. One year, years and years and years ago, I made a software called Quick Planner Plus. And it was a super simple little software, but it was designed to plan for an activity or an event. And I was selling it for like $75 online and blah, blah, blah. Then one year I gave it away for free. And I said, hey, everybody use this to plan out your new year. Like, use this to free a way of doing your resolutions. And I just, from that point forward, gave it away for free. But it was that same idea, like, plan for the future, plan for this year, lay out the plan for this year. But it also means not just saying, I want to go to the snow with my boys. It's like, okay, what day, what time, when are you going to do that? I want to go,
those are those things that we all were told, hey, you got to write down your goals. Because if you don't write them down, then you're not really held to it. And so
Right.
you can create a little list of things. And if that list isn't in front of you every day, you can create a list, and then I can just go put this somewhere else. I don't have to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and like you said, that accountability, that whole mental, it's funny, the rules for success. One of the main rules is remind yourself of your successes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't have any I used to make a list, and I would put some of the things that I may have already done that morning. If this is my list of things to do today, I already ate breakfast. I would write something like that down, eat breakfast, and I would cross it off, because then it makes you feel like I'm already getting things done. I'm doing things.
I always had triple S on my list. Triple S, shower, shit, and shave.
Yep.
That was my,
Make those marks.
It's a natural thing, but I did that. I did my 15 or 20 or 100 push-ups. Yep, absolutely. Part of your list, part of your daily battle plan.
Well, we gotta have goals, and I think that it's a very important thing. Is from a personal standpoint, from a business standpoint, I think those are things that are very important. And it's like when you're building the Jeep, you don't go, hey, I'm gonna go buy me a high lift jack first. Like, why would you do that?
Somebody has.
Is people I'm sure have.
Well, I got a high lift jack, therefore I bought a Jeep.
Right. Or I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy some 40s for my brand new Jeep. I don't have a lift on it yet, but I'm going to start with tires.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to have a plan, and things need to make some sense, and you can do things in an order that will enable you to be successful, or you can just randomly throw stuff at the wall and see if it works out. I mean, it's I don't know. It's a good way to do things. I'm just more of I'm really, the OCD and all that is just, it makes me crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. What do they say? You have to lose yourself in order to find yourself. It's okay to lose yourself. It's okay to let go.
And I fall back on more cliches, right? If you plan to fail, or fail to plan, then plan to fail.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Well, maybe. Yes. Yeah, it is interesting about life, though. I mean, this is what we got, but ultimately we have goals. So let's talk about that. Like, what is your number one goal for 2023, Corey?
My number one for next year, I actually have two, but the one that's going to take precedent and kind of provide me some structure is to be proud of my own accomplishments. I don't do that very well. I get a lot of things done, I think, sometimes, but I'm never either totally satisfied with the results, or it was a checkbox, but was I proud of how I did it? Maybe not. So for 2023, I want to be much more aware and proud of the things that I do get done, and be okay with it. Like, oh, I could have done that better. Man, give yourself a break now and then, and don't be so negative. So, yeah. How about yourself?
That's good. There's an old adage that that somebody hammers into me all the time. That is, ignore the losses and reinforce the wins. Right. And that's, sometimes it's easy to focus on the losses and to forget about the wins.
Yes,
it's all part of that. Like, and there's another one that a mantra I tell myself all the time is, never regret yesterday. Life is new today, and you make your tomorrow. Like, just don't focus. Yeah, I fucked up. Failure is part of life.
Yeah, be okay
Making
with
mistakes is part of life. Deal with it and move on. And but reinforce those wins. Like, really take that time to say, wow, that worked out, man. Oh, that's awesome. Like, good job, everybody.
it. Right.
And really take that to heart. So that's it. Mine has got to be purely organizational. I mean, just getting. I have a very long list of not dones and half dones in life, and part of that comes from the procrastination, but part of it just comes from just lack of time and other things, right? So I think I'm trying to re-embrace my passive proactivity, and to just get major targets done. So I have my major targets, like, okay, what the garage to a done, right? Sell the Harley, buy an Indian to a done, right? The toolbox. I've been acquiring tools and stuff, and I was just at Home Depot, and they have the Husky drawer set, right? And that full, which I gotta get rid of my old Craftsman that's all beat up from falling around in the back of the race prep truck and all that. Got to get that replaced, put all new tools in, like, done. And these are just targets, and it's every time. It's interesting in life when you think about something. Like, think about this, like, oh, I'd really like to just, I'd really like to paint the back room one of these days. You've just started a cycle of action.
Yep.
You started the moment you thought that you'd like to do it. You started that cycle, and a cycle of action is very simple. It's a start, change, and stop. It starts something, you do it, and you complete it. The moment you had in your mind that you wanted to start doing something, you started that. Now, unless you decide, yeah, let me think about that for a second. No, I'm not going to do it. It's open. It is an open cycle. It's going to occupy your a certain percentage of your mind. Like, it may be small, but it's still this idea that you started something, and now it's going to be hanging there until it's done. Now, I have a lot of room for starting things to be done up there because I have a lot of ideas. Half the time I do go there and go, yeah, nope, not going to happen. The other half, I go, yes, that is definitely something that needs to be done. I'm going to add it to my list, and now I'm going to accomplish that. I'm going to start going through it. So this year is really about that, doing this. It's about completing these cycles, getting rid of the not dones and half dones that are occupying that little portion of my mind back in the corner.
Well, those half dones that's a huge. I mean, we all start something, and then we get in the middle of it, and either we lose interest in it, it becomes too difficult. We're not going the path that we initially thought it was going to be, how it was going to turn out, and so we just kind of fizzles out, and we're over it, right?
Right.
So that's huge. I think the whole done thing is a big deal, and we're all, I think, very notorious for. I like to clean, but I know that I don't want to clean for 8 hours. I want to clean for an hour and see huge results, which sometimes you can make that happen and other times you can't. So, yeah.
Well, it's like with me when it comes to the garage, it is a open the doors of the garage, pull everything out, get rid of things as you're pulling them out, dump away the trash, get away the recycling and stuff, get it all out, and then put it all back in. That's a major project. I'm up at 6 a.m. starting the process. The kids will be up when they get out, and they go out there, ride around playing and stuff and doing stuff. It's not a, oh, we're gonna take a little section of the garage and, oh, look, we tidied up this little section. No, this is like everything comes out, and it's a major thing. It is 10 hours of work until the sun starts going down, and you have to commit to it. So Jesse, how about you?
The big one. I'm going to stop comparing myself to everybody else.
Nice.
Wow.
That means taking a break from social media other than doing my job. I deleted the Facebook app and everything else that was distractive off my phone.
Awesome.
So it's not a habit anymore. Because it becomes a habit. I need to focus on myself and quit being hard on myself.
That's huge.
That is very big.
We're seeing, and it's one of the things in my predictions, and we're hearing more about it. We're talking to more people about this, and we're hearing more stories about it. But people are leaving Meta behind. It's changed. It's not what we all, It's not MySpace anymore where we were all just cooking up with our high school friends and keeping track of our family. Now it's about advertisements. It's being forced. Things are being pushed on us. If you look at your own feeds anymore, it's pretty ridiculous. Um, it's a real time suck. It's a little bit like TikTok in a way. At least TikTok's entertaining. Facebook has become very negative, and we're hearing more and more people just they're not even using it. They're finding different alternatives, whether it's IG or whatever. Everybody needs to find their own happy place, if you will.
Mhm.
And
Right.
for a lot of people, I think social media has been really tough on them.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
you
for
know,
me.
you have to have some rules about social media, and for your own. And like one of them is just to ignore the comments. Like you can't feed off of that, right?
Right.
I rarely post things that are personal. Like most people, like they come up to me, hey, and they make comments because they've seen a picture of my family that my wife tagged me in, right? But I rarely post anything. I just don't have a habit of doing that. And when you do post stuff, and like I have posted some political statements, and I'm just prepared for it. I know what I'm posting, and I'm prepared for that
Mhm.
game. But I also know that my stuff just hardly gets seen anymore because in the algorithm of the metaverse,
Right.
yeah, I'm just not important to anybody. So like, well, we're not going to feed that because that's not going to keep anybody around. It is interesting though, because you do have like I deleted TikTok, right? I was watching that way too much. And I'm very much into this conspiracy theory that, all that data is being fed directly into the Chinese government. So I have no interest in feeding that machine. And then you have all this, Twitter now. Twitter's been interesting. I, I don't really play much in that universe, and I don't play much in IG. I mean, we do obviously as companies, we have lots of stuff going on,
Right.
but I, I'm just not. I think I'm more and more increasingly becoming like the social media platform for me is just isn't there. You would think that maybe LinkedIn would be interesting one for professional side of things, um, but it's like this whole idea of you're belonging to a club. We've talked about this before. Um, I wouldn't necessarily want to be a member of a club that would have me as a member, right? It
Right.
what's
Right.
who was it? Samuel Clemens said that, or somebody said that. Somebody famous said that. But it is that idea. Like I'm just not a club guy. I just don't because I'm not going to go attend meetings.
Mhm.
I'm not going to necessarily participate as much. Somebody asked me the other day, like, what are your, we were talking about where fatherhood and hobbies, and this guy's talking about all these little hobbies that he has. Like, what are your hobbies? Like, I go to work. I come home, I take care of my kids, and sometimes I get out wheeling. Like that's where my life is right now. Right. And that's what's important to me. It's not about me. I'm not
Right.
trying to do these little hobbies and stuff. I did, however, and I've got to throw this in there as a side note. I did, however, throw onto my Christmas list, and my wife actually got it for me, an Estes aerospace rocket. Because when I was a
Oh
kid, I used to
yeah.
do model rocketry.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna use the excuse of having kids. I'm gonna go back into Estes aerospace model rocketry and start building these rockets and stuff.
Do they
However, I
still have like
realized,
little C engines and D engines and all that?
dude, this is what's confusing to me now because it's not little C engines. It's like BA4, BA3. It's like one rocket has 6 possible engines. And
Oh.
they have ranges and like you have to now study the dynamics of the engine to know how high you want it to go or how long you want it to burn. And it's like, wait, I just liked it when I just shoved it.
Yeah, you
You
shoved the
just
little lighter thing up into its butt and off
yeah.
it went.
But
And
yeah, and but it was like it had a space for an A engine, and you just put the
yep.
double A engine in there and the C engine. Although if you found that the C engine fit the actual tube of the body, you pull out the engine and you put the C engine where an A engine was supposed to go, and then you just see how high it would go and explode. But so I'm like, I loved it when I was like, so I'm gonna get some of these and we'll build them with the kids. One of the reasons I need to clean out the garage so it can be much more of a work area and go out there and shoot model rocketry for fun, right? Just
That's
because.
cool. That's cool.
But
I think we
it's
all having something, it's kind of funny, and we'll get off of the social media kind of bandwagon here, but I highly successful people that are very busy, they're not on social media, and yet some of us use social media to hopefully become successful and busy, which I think is an interesting thing now.
Elon
Mhm.
Musk is on social media like every friggin' hour.
Right, and I mean, so you're
Our
talking about
buddy,
like, if you
I don't
think about
understand.
it, there's like 10 guys.
But here's the thing, like our buddy Jeremy Purick, right?
Mhm.
And let's look at some of the guys in our own industry. Jeremy Purick, Rusty. There are certain guys in our industry that I don't understand. I don't know how they have the time. We all know Jeremy's a very busy guy. You know, he engineers his products, the designers and stuff. We all know he's very busy. Yet somehow he is always on social media, right? Like he's in there making. Same with Rusty. I mean, he's got a decent sized company that he's got to run and grow. And maybe not. Maybe he's successfully passed it on to other people running, so he can hang on social media. He's on social media. I don't have time to follow up and catch those things. I just don't. So,
But my prediction is in 2023 that social media is going to have far less of an impact than it has had. And I heard a funny thing this morning. We were watching. We don't have satellite anymore. We don't do the dish thing and all that. So I get a little bit of news just from the broadcasts that get done on free TV now. But it was so funny. It was this gal talking about online dating and how to date on these apps. And she was just doing her little, 5-7 minute report or whatever. And at the very end, she said, and you know what's crazy is you can still meet people in person. And I'm walking around the house and I'm listening to her talk and I'm thinking, now there's a phenomenal idea. You could actually talk to somebody in person. How crazy is that?
It is amazing the increasing number of people that have met through dating apps. Like those dating apps are popular for a reason. People meet, they get married, they go through their dating apps, right? And it is, and you don't have. It's amazing. I mean, and now the fact that you actually can like talk to somebody in person, is that allowed?
Wait, what? Like you're going to go somewhere and meet somebody and actually eat a meal or have a cup of coffee or?
Does anybody ever pick up anybody in a bar anymore? Like, do you ever go down? Do you go down to the bar and hang out and meet somebody and go, "Hey, let's go hang out"? I don't know.
I don't know.
Does that even happen anymore? Or does everybody show up at a bar at couples? I mean, or just whatever.
Yeah, I mean, her daughters, they don't go hang out in a bar and meet people, and so I don't know. I guess it's. We're anyway.
So, yeah. I think these are great. Well, but we're going to hold each other to it, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is it. We're our own peer pressure group, so we have to hold each other to these.
That's right.
These goals for this year.
I like it.
Presents. Anything particular you got that you thought were really excited about this year, besides the Oreo cookies?
The Oreos are that's kind of right up there. We really don't do a whole lot of when something comes up and there's something that one of us wants, we kind of just will buy it then. So this year was kind of more of the family focused. We got stuff. My oldest brother has a 6-month-old now as well, and so it was kind of fun buying kids stuff, and of course her grandbaby. We bought stuff for her grandbaby, and when we were down in Texas, I think we mentioned this in the last podcast. We went to an IKEA for the first time.
No, never been in IKEA before. Yeah, it's a dangerous place to be.
Turn into a $300.
Yeah.
Well, and the OCD in me, like I'm wanting to just gut the house and simplify the world. Like I don't need anything anymore. I just need this little bar that I can.
Exactly. Just somebody come in, suck the room up, and put a new room in, and I'm happy. I don't want to know what's in here.
Well, it is amazing. Wait, this room is 62 square feet.
Yeah,
they got those little setups.
I didn't really understand that stuff was really small and stuff was very minimalist, really. But
it was nice.
It was, I don't know, a tiny home. I kind of get it. I would understand that because then you just don't have to think about all these other things we have.
That's the one thing my wife wishes we had. I mean, now that there's 3 kids running around, the 3,400 square foot house feels like a giant monster overhanging her, and it's too hard to keep up with. So we need to go back to the little 2,000 square foot house, the one that I wanted originally. And it's a good thing. Now I will say she hates it, but when we first moved in and we had our big bedroom, we did a new furniture, and we bought an IKEA set. So I had an IKEA bed, big king size bed, to IKEA end dressers and IKEA lamps. IKEA a big dresser, an IKEA stand up, like bachelors, whatever they call it, butlers, a dresser, all of that from IKEA. Now I watched 8 hours, I think it was, of television, movies just playing as I was assembling all of this stuff because I had to assemble it all, right? And for the most part, I was assembling it for the long term. I was using little glue on the wooden dowels, even though you don't need to, right? I was doing everything for the long term on it. She hates the fact that our even today, like it was supposed to be temporary 6 years ago. It was supposed to be temporary, right? Like, well, if you find a set you want to get, that's fine. You got to get somebody who wants to take all of this out, and take all of this out and then put the new stuff in, because I'm not going to take it all out. Like I don't want to take it all apart. I'm not. It's going to be sold as is. Somebody can come get it. That's fine. Hell, give it away. I don't care. But it is interesting. You can go through. And since then, we've gotten rid of some of the stuff in the house that was IKEA, but it was a place we went when we first moved into the house, right? The television stand was IKEA. This was IKEA. A bunch of little things IKEA. It's a cool place to go, especially because the prices are good. And if you're got a little apartment someplace, God, it's awesome, right?
That's what
But
I mean. That's what it's meant for. I mean, it was kind of fun because we were walking around in there, and every time there was like how they set up their little models of a living room or a kitchen or whatever. Well, for some reason, I got very intrigued with the dishwashers, and the dishwashers, when you shut the doors, they like latch and they're sturdy. And I thought,
And
how
it doesn't
come?
look like a dishwasher. They were
And
cool.
yeah, they were, their panels were matched on the front to match their cabinets or whatever.
right,
But
right.
I got to thinking, I've been in this house almost 20 years, and my dishwasher never felt like that.
Yeah, they're
And
a little different now, buddy.
well, I kind of figured it out. We replaced these cabinets in my kitchen 15 years ago, and we have a marble top, and I knew a guy down here that had the marble shop, and they cut the slabs and all that, and I installed the dishwasher myself. I never attached the straps on the top to the underside of the counter because it's that rock countertop. So when you shut the door, sometimes you had to press on the dishwasher a little too hard. Well, it's on an island, and you can actually push the dishwasher out the back side a little bit, which then buckles the piece of wood on the back. And but I knew that, and in my when me and my ex-wife lived here, we knew not to press very hard. And Jessie was loading the dishwasher one day, and she pressed, and I looked at the back panel, and man, the back panel was like really buckled on the back side of the counter. And I thought, you know what? There's got to be a solution to this. Well, so being in IKEA, and I'm like, you know what? There's got to be a way. So it made me go back to her girl's apartment, and I got to Googling, and they actually make a piece of metal that spans the top portion of a dishwasher. It's a strap, basically. Home Depot sells them, and then it screws into each sides of the cabinet, and it's got a whole bunch of holes that go along the top of the dishwasher that then the straps can screw into. Literally, like it's $15 in 15 minutes. My dishwasher, you can actually shut the door now. It clicks. It's amazing.
Well, I'm interesting. You do things right the first time. And you've been dealing with this problem for 15 years?
15 years. So, and that's one of those, like we were talking about this whole done concept. I've known about it, and I just lived with it. I just knew not to press very hard on the door, and I could get it to latch, of course, but I just didn't press very hard. You live with it for 15 years instead of, obviously there's a fix. People have granite countertops all over the planet. Like, oh yeah, there's just a piece of metal you can buy. But if you don't know, you don't know. And
right. Or yeah, but it's interesting looking at things as problems that need to be solved. Right. There is that category of problems that need to be solved. And sometimes you don't see it because it's right in front of your face. We have to deal with it here at Metalcloak all the time with like, okay, well, hey, somebody walks in and says, why does the website do that? You're like, oh, hell, I never quite realized that was a problem, but you're right. Let's fix it. Right. As opposed to, well, it's been working fine. It's been working fine for 13 years. What do you? No. There's problems. You got to fix them.
It's that whole, well, it hurts when I do this. Well, says then don't do that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, if the red lines mean that you're going down on your graphs and the blue lines mean you're going up, get rid of the red pins.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, just can't do it. So I will say we did have another different saga because we got ourselves a new television. And
Yay.
our new television was the acquisition was because Jack had destroyed the other television, right? We
Right.
told that story in a previous episode. And that was fine. So we decided to go over to Best Buy, like literally it was 2 nights ago. So we go over to Best Buy. Was that Monday night? Monday night. Drive over there. Whole family goes in, direct back to the TV, get the kids. It's great. By the way, Apple, thank you for having these pads that people can play with, because basically the kids go there and all they're doing is doing games while we're doing everything else. And it keeps them enthralled, and that's fine. So we go in, start looking around, and I'm like, Louisa started the process with us. You know, we were looking at Costco prices and stuff. Like, okay, we don't need I don't need an OLED. I don't need the big $3,000 TV, especially when there's a chance that another book might be thrown at it again. You know, there's no reason to go down that path. So we just need a 75-inch. We had a 65, so you have to upgrade. You have to go bigger. You have to. So we went to 75. And so we just found a 4K 75 UHD, right? I think it was like $650 was the sale price currently, right? That seems about the right range. That's fine. We'll get that. And in doing that, it's kind of fascinating. Look at things like the 32-inch TV that I probably paid, years ago, paid a lot of money for, is like for $150 these days.
Oh yeah, they give those away in cereal boxes now.
Yeah, exactly. And so we went in there and we're going around and we're in Best Buy, and I'm like, hey, look, there's a 75-inch in a open box. And it's exactly the one we want, because they don't have any inventory of the one we were looking at for $650. So it's there. So we go, okay, cool. Well, let's just take this one. It's certified, it's warranted, it's all covered. I'll let Louisa do the negotiations. So because she's pretty hard ass and that stuff. So I go hang out with the kids and she's talking to them, and they're like, yeah, we can lower that by another $100. Okay, great. Then some sub manager dude comes by and says, nope, you can only take off $80 off that. And he was kind of rude about it. So Louisa was rubbed the wrong way on it and stuff. I said, that's fine, babe. Just get it. So we got it. Now, one thing I discovered owning a minivan, that 65 inches fits side to side. 75 does not. We did not have all the car seats down. We did not have this ready to be moved. We did not want to strap it on the top. So guys, literally, thankfully Best Buy is only like 5 minutes from my house, and there's enough back roads that we could do this and not be that janky. We opened up both sides of the sliding doors on either side, and we pushed it through from one side to the other, and we left, and so it was hanging out, and the doors stayed open, and it wasn't even straight. It had to be at an angle in order to fit. And the kids, some of the kids were in the back, the other kid was in the front, and that was how we drove home. So we were that awesome family for 5 minutes. Just doors open, TV all the way across, got it home, got it set up, and it was good. Except all of a sudden I noticed, as I was setting it up, there was a bulge on the top of the plastic framing that goes around the ledge, right? Just this stuff. It bulged up at one point. And who knows what that's from. So I said, well, take some photos of that. We'll take a little video of it. We'll send it to them. Maybe we'll get an additional discount. Say, hey, we want a deeper discount because of this thing. We used to make some calls, ends up having to go in the next day. So she on the way home, drives in there the next day, goes into the Best Buy, starts talking to somebody. And basically they say, and this is the 7000 series, right? And she's trying to go back and forth. They're apologizing for the problems and and all the issues, whatever. The end up solution that she gets is she ends up going, well, we're going to take that TV back, but we're going to sell you the next one up, the 8000 series. This is a Samsung UHD, LED 8000 series, which is retails for like $11.99 or something like that. Currently on sale for $9.99. We'll sell it to you for $7.49. Which is only $100 and some odd more than the boxed TV, last generation TV that we had. So Louisa signed in for that deal. Now, it didn't mean that I had to take all the damn TV and put it all back in the box and get all kinds of stuff. Do it. But I took all the seats out of the minivan, slid the TV in there, and then she drove it on and got the new TV. So we have a new TV. It's a 75-inch 4K, right? Blah, blah, blah. And it's, again, it's not the amazing OLED and all that tech, but we don't really need that. And it looks great, and it's good TV. And for Christmas, one of the things I got was Maverick, the movie, on a DVD.
Oh, cool. Yep.
So I'm like, the kids and I are getting ready. We're probably going to be tonight, popcorn movie night, watch Maverick. I need to like do a little search on it because I don't remember if there was any like foul language. I don't think it was. I think it was pretty. It
Not
seemed
a
to be pretty
lot.
tame.
If there, maybe a word or two here and there, but I don't recall there being.
Nothing more than they
Yeah.
hear from their mom on occasion. So
Right.
But yeah,
Well,
so that was kind of that was fun.
Well, maybe the next version of the TV they'll start making them with Corningware's Gorilla Glass option.
I was hearing about that, but no. God, so
Wait,
tell me
let's
the saga of the Gorilla Glass.
I tell you, so I think we talked about this before. We had gone to an event. Where were we?
All for fun.
All for fun here in Colorado, and we saw more cracked Gorilla Glass windshields than we saw regular cracked windshields, and it was kind of like a weird little trend. And we noticed pretty much anybody who got on the trailer, if they had a Gorilla Glass windshield, it had rock chips and cracks in it. And
Wow.
we kind of did a little bit of digging online and whatnot, and people were saying, oh yeah, you can just turn on your defroster if it's cold outside, and if it gets hot in there, people's windshields are just popping. So in my own theory on this whole thing was that it's almost too hard. Like the glass is not forgiving at all. It's too hard. So Jesse's Jeep, brand new Jeep, this Jeep doesn't even have 5,000 miles on it yet. It has already had a rock chip repaired that split, and then going to Texas and back, we have 3 more. One is a 5-inch crack in it, and this is like kind of ridiculous because we don't follow people close. The roads weren't full of gravel. These are small little rocks that hit the windshield, and of course I'm driving back and I get one right in my vision of sight. And so we took it down to our local glass shop here in Montrose. The guys have taken care of me for years and years. And John down there says they actually have a Gladiator in the shop that they're replacing with regular glass. And he's like, oh yeah, that guy had Gorilla Glass too. He's like, well, they're a lot thinner than the OEM glass. And I went, what? He goes, oh yeah, the Gorilla Glass, a lot of sales pitch going on there. And I'm sure I've got my little flame suit I can put on, and I'm a big boy. Like all you people out there that are like, oh, these are the best thing. And I don't care if somebody from Jeep wants to call and talk to me. That is a fraction thinner than OEM glass, and whatever Corningware did to make it stronger, well, it ain't happening. And it's extremely expensive if you want to replace it with Gorilla Glass, but
which nobody's doing.
Oh, and of course, to replace the windshield in the new Jeeps, that's also $300 of programming. So you pay for the glass, and then you have to pay the $300 for the programming that is mandatory because of the sensors and the electronics in that center pod that have to be calibrated to a new windshield.
Which is interesting because when you go to someplace like Safelight, like they will do the whole calibration. When I have a guy show up over here, our local guy, Omic, glass, he just replaces the glass and doesn't bother with calibration, and seems to be fine.
Well, maybe when we're out in California, we're gonna have to call that guy.
Wow. First off, wow. Like, I want to say something that your theory though about the hardness plays a lot. Our guy here, John, Omic Glass, awesome dude. We've been using him for years. One thing about having somebody like him having a Jeep company as a client is there's always regular business. And I mean, everything from the TJ, I think the first thing I ever did was something on the TJ back in 2009 or 10, right? So, and I was talking to him about it, and I think we've discussed this before, that the primary point of most cracked windshields starts when a rock chip or something occurs in the black frame around
the edge. Yep.
And then that one, because when a rock chip there, it actually will crack and then it grows. And the reason is because it's harder around that edge. And so glass is flexible. Remember, everybody, guys, glass is a liquid. It's a slow moving liquid, but it is a liquid, classified as a liquid. And so when you have that flexible section in the center, there is some flex there. A rock hits it. Sure, it chips. A lot of times it does happen, but for the most part, it doesn't break and start cracking there because it's in a more flexible area. If the Gorilla Glass is thicker, or is, I mean, not thicker, but is harder,
is harder. Yeah.
is harder, then it's not going to have that flex, and therefore it's a greater chance that it's going to break. It's like Elon Musk throwing the ball at the window, right? It's like, yes, this is bulletproof. Yeah, but wasn't
oops.
giant like rock, 10-pound weight proof, right?
Right.
So but it's still that concept, that idea. I mean, so that, and he said there was a company years ago, and we've talked about this podcast before, but that made a film that just went around the windshield just to protect the hard area where you generally cracks would occur. So, but it's almost every time you see one when there cracks is because it hit the hard area, which totally makes sense. So if the Gorilla Glass is technically harder. Now, what's interesting is Gorilla Glass originated, and when you first heard about it, it was on Apple iPhones, right?
On your phones, yeah.
Right. And they don't use that anymore.
Nope.
And there was a reason. So somehow somebody in Jeep thought it'd be a cool idea to use it for marketing purposes. And
I think it's a great marketing ploy. I mean, I get it. There's a company, and they were actually at our event when we were at A to Z Overland, that does, tear offs, like when you're wearing a helmet and you're in the mud or whatever. Motorcycle helmets typically have multiple sheets of Lexan plastic clear. You can tear off as you can't see. So you just keep tearing. Well, they make those for off-road vehicles, and you can put them on your car.
A tear off?
Now, a giant windshield tear off.
That's awesome.
Yeah. $300 per tear. Is it
per tear?
300?
I think you got 3.
Oh, you get 3 of them for $300.
Wow.
And again, it's kind of like when we put something over our screens on our phones.
It's about the same.
Yeah.
There's always a little reflection, and things
aren't quite right.
Aren't quite right. There's always a glare. Mm-hmm. Something is off.
Yeah, I had, when we first started hearing about Jeep stuff, I actually had a little project I did, and then COVID hit, and I didn't do it because it was going to be a China purchase product. It would have to be, but it was about putting a 12 mil it's clear vinyl essentially over your windshield, right?
Yeah.
Now this stuff is sold. You can buy it. Like, there's a lot of guys, especially in the exotic car world, that will do this, and the guys that do it. There's also videos you can watch too. There's guys that do they just put on over like the period of 3 days, like just layers of this, whatever it is, some sort of Lexan type of liquid. And they just do that for windshields. But it was the idea, like, hey, what do we just sell a roll of this stuff, and people can just use some Windex, put it on there, spray it on, clear it out. But there is that challenge. Now, we didn't do it because, again, it would be buying a massive roll of the stuff from China, because that was the cheapest place to get it, to be able to do it, as opposed to buying 3M or something here locally. And just supply chain didn't happen. But still, that idea that that's really what you need. You need something on there to protect the windshield. And I figured it'd be like an $85 product, right? Just something that goes on there. If somebody puts it on there, it's clean, and they can just change it up whenever they want to change it up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting talking to a guy at a glass shop when they're like, "Oh yeah, we swap these things out all the time because they're just
insane.
They're just
isn't there a Gorilla Glass upcharge?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think initially it was like $750, but I think now if you order it when you order it, I think it's $150.
The only reason I did it was $100 to upgrade to glass when you ordered your Jeep. So I was like,
that's because they have a lot of excess inventory they're just trying to get rid of.
Probably.
Or some contract.
And still make a little bit of money on it. And we all know that the rake of the Jeep windshield is fairly vertical. You're gonna it's just bizarre to me though that the JLs and the Gladiators seem to have more problems. I know the JKs went through a lot of windshields, and that's when the Gorilla Glass thing kind of came about. And then we were all on board. But it's kind of funny. It's kind of like when nobody wants to admit that they made a bad purchase.
Right.
So people that have bought it, you don't really hear anything about it anymore, if it's good or bad. And I'm curious.
It does make me wonder. Makes me wonder if you put a bug deflector, which they look ugly.
If you change the wind flow.
If you put a bug deflector on the front of your Jeep, would you actually change the wind flow and have less likely to have a rock or something? Now, something big is going to go through that, but it's a little stuff, right? I mean, would it make a difference?
They say that does help, an air deflector or an air dam. I'm curious, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you've had an experience with Gorilla Glass, leave us a comment. I'm curious
Yeah.
about what we see in other parts of the country.
It'd be interesting to do a test on that. Like maybe have a one of those air dam windshield or the airflow things that you can just click on and off, as opposed to leaving it on all the time because it's ugly as all get out. But
Right.
I know Sonia, Aaron's wife here, one of our partners, she had that on the front of her Jeep for a long time because she just wanted it, just got rid of bugs and just, none of us would do it because it's ugly, but she didn't care. She put it on there because it was functional. And so, maybe I wonder if there is something to it.
Back in the day when I first bought my TJ, that was back in the days of remember bras, like the black front end.
Oh
cover
yeah.
that you put. So I had a bra on the front of my TJ, and it had like these little triangles that were on the edge of the hood.
Really?
And in the theory of it would deflect some air up and whatnot. And of course, we all remember 2 years ago by you'd take the thing off and your paint's kind of fogged because it got wet underneath there or whatever.
You baked it.
So yeah, it wasn't on there very long, and I pulled it off. Realized that was
how many Porsche paint jobs had to get redone?
Right,
because they were brought up. Yep.
RX-7.
Yep, all the same. Now it's clear bra. Now you can do clear bra stuff.
Did you have an RX-7?
I did.
Oh, I used to love.
I love that car.
When it was RX-7 was big, so mid 80s, I was working at the service stations, gas station, right? There was this cutest girl. I'm like 15, and she was a 17, 18-year-old. She had like this cutest girl would come through there all the time, and she had an RX-7. I had so many long conversations about her car with her, just so I could just talk to her. She was so cute. Anyway,
there's a creepy guy at the filling station
again. Yeah. At least I wasn't a creepy guy who tried to get the hey, why you guys come and do a car wash here? Wear the bikinis and do a bikini car wash. That would be okay. Yeah. I'll give a donation. So what about you, Jesse? I mean, obviously, did you get anything special for Christmas or anything other than just being able to, obviously family is like the most special thing of all, but it was great being able to go down there.
I did, my biggest thing was, he put up with driving me everywhere. But I got to see my kids, and Heidi actually sent me a present I got. She handmade it's down. I'll have to post it or something. I haven't yet. So the Jesse Combs Foundation little
their little logo.
The logo,
yeah.
she made into a like Tiffany. So she welded the frame of it and then melted.
Oh, that one, okay.
And it's a little hanging. It's yellow and red. So, but it's like a Tiffany lamp.
It's stained glass.
Wow.
Stained glass, yeah.
Stained glass.
Wow.
So it was really
that's cool.
That was kind of special.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah. So, well, we got a new year coming up. I think we're going to do a next week. We got to work on this because I don't think we've confirmed everybody. But aren't we supposed to do like our year in review episode next week?
Yeah, our year review, and then talk about kind of what we see. I've got a whole list of some stuff, and I'll add to this, and we can talk about it next week, and kind of give my perspective of what we're seeing in the industry and what we're seeing in our country, really. Just kind of some interesting little projections that, I don't know, we'll see if some of them come true or if I'm just way out in left field. But yeah, I mean, we're getting close. Hopefully registration for Death Valley should be coming online.
Yes.
Our permit has been approved. We got a couple of little things we still need to take care of with them. Guys, Death Valley, we had that severe flooding this last year. And unfortunately, what we're still hearing is most of the roads are going to be open. Most of them are now. Titus Canyon, though, one of the most phenomenal canyons in Death Valley, is still closed. And the National Park Service is saying it may be a long time. Like they're saying parts of the road are gone completely.
Wow.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll keep everybody posted as far as that goes, though.
That's too bad. That's what my thought was. Like, if you just drove up there from the main road down below, and they could hike in just to that last section of the canyon, right?
And I'm sure
Just
that still is allowed. I mean, hiking will be allowed, but if you can imagine that flooding that they saw on very, very wide roads, there are parts of that canyon, as you know, Matson, are only 15 feet wide and 100 feet tall. So
there's no telling how much gravel and
I heard stories that the water was 25 feet deep going through there.
Wow.
I don't know.
And we don't know what the road condition is to even hike to it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Crazy. But I know they are active on it. I mean, they definitely have been going good. Hey, let's talk about Tech Tip. And I want to hand that over to Jesse, because you put an article up on ModernJeeper.com about that SEMA new product winner, the track tire jack. And tell us about, because you used that, right?
I did. I actually, when I swapped out all the tires off of Rockstar, so she's got new shoes, brand new sparkly old Patagonias. So she's all happy. So I met them because we were talking to Demos, and we kind of went into the new product, which is down in the main hall, and they have a big showcase of all these new products that they get to invite, that set up and show off their new products. So he was the winner of the Launchpad new product of the year for SEMA, and Demos, she was second.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So we went and talked to them, and I was just really intrigued because, and personally, us women have to really get on the ground. Most men do too. And it's just a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight. And as we get older, it doesn't feel good anymore. So I thought it was just the most simple, genius little thing that could ever happen to, personally, us women, as to this little hand cart has wheels on it.
Just one wheel that runs. It's a big bearing, if you will, that runs across the center section of it, and literally it's just a
scoop with the tire.
It's just a pry device.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so
just
simple.
Enough to just lift it up onto the lugs.
I mean, the counterweight on it, it's nothing. I could bend over and push on it, and the tire just raises up on.
So literally jack up your tire, slip that thing underneath there, and literally put a little bit of pressure, and you just roll the tire out. You don't have to get on the ground and get all dirty and
simple. That's awesome. That's
super
awesome.
Simple.
Well, you guys can read about it at ModernJeeper.com. It's the headline article right now. Check it out. And check out all the other stuff at ModernJeeper.com. I don't think we talk about our own website that much, our own blog and own stories. So there's a lot of good stuff going up there because, well, when Corey and Jesse actually have time to sort through the photos and write some articles, that it pops up, and then it goes through, and then it goes dark for a long time because they're out on the road. But then
that's another focus of this next year. So hopefully 2023 will have some additional input from some of our other influencers, if you will, around the industry, as they can contribute stuff and look for places for their own blogs. So
yeah, definitely. Awesome. Well, I think, guys, we had a great one. I think we got a lot to do. I actually it's getting to be almost lunchtime here, and part of the deal is I'm buying these guys for working these extra days lunch each day, and so I know they're like looking at me like hungry puppies
on your glass.
Like, I was just the food.
Hungry.
Where's our food?
Hungry. Yesterday we did Popeyes because it was a request of one of those guys that did Popeyes chicken. 4 people. There's a whole nother commentary. And we actually didn't even get into the other thing I was going to talk about, but we'll talk about it. But 4 people.
Expensive.
$90.
Wow.
4 people.
Wow.
And it wasn't anything special. It was just like this little deal, this little deal, this little $90 freaking dollars.
I'm thinking they should have all just gotten a pack of Oreos.
Well, you have our address. You can share. Sharing,
that's way less expensive than
sharing is
$90
caring.
Popeyes.
Sharing is caring. I want that along with
lunch.
I'm bringing you some special stuff.
Special. All right. Bringing me. Just me, right? Not everybody. Just me.
Just you.
Well, it depends. We'll give them to you, and if they happen to make it to other parts of the office, that's on you, buddy.
I don't want that responsibility. No. You didn't distribute properly. There are some people that are upset at you now. Thanks. All right. Hey, Modern Jeepers, thank you for joining us. It has been an incredible 2022. This is the last episode of the year as we head into the next year. And so we got a lot going on. We got our 200th episode. Reminder, save the date for 10 a.m. on January 12th. 10 a.m. January 12th. That will be our live episode. That's 10 a.m. Pacific time. Our live episode for our 200th episode. 200th episode of the Modern Jeeper Show. And guys, it's going to be awesome. A lot of fun. Don't know. We Metalcloak will, just as a side note, Metalcloak will be doing a New Year's resolution type giveaway. I resolved the Jeep type thing. I'm reformulating it, so it will launch. Literally, it launches usually. It'll launch on Monday the 2nd. I'm reformulating it to benefit Metalcloak more, and I'll be blatant about it. Some of the reasons we're doing it is for not just to benefit all of you, but to benefit Metalcloak some more. So, hope that you guys will understand that when I launch it. That being said, my friends, thank you all for joining us. It's been an incredible year, a very interesting year. And we want to hear from you. What are your resolutions for the year? Share in the comments. What are your resolutions for the year? What are you doing for the year? What trails do you want to go on? We didn't even have time to really even talk about like our wheeling goals for the year, but we got plenty of time to talk about that. Yep. And I'm going to say one more side note. Well, no, I'll save that for next time. We'll more to rant about this at the next episode. That being said, we'll see you on the trails.
Cheers.
See ya.